They're yours. Hit that one more time. I am the number one determinant of the success or failure. Here we go. Of my student. Hey, y'all, you have a strong summer. Kick some butt next year. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's the mindset. That's the attitude. Love you guys.
And we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 127 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. Let me see who's here today. We got here, we got a long list here. We got my man Demetrius Scott in the building. Let me know where y'all are coming from as well. We got Takesha High, Josh Tovar, Rodney Williams in the building. My man Sean Hurt. What a dynamite topic he had today, talking about the spousal support of the principal. I had put on his thread. I don't know if he saw it yet or not, but it's such a powerful topic that he did today that I'm thinking about. We need to bring about, Sean, maybe 4 or 5 of us together and have that 2-hour conversation on precisely what you talked about. So we'll talk about that. We got Marsha Poe in the building, all the way in San Diego. Donna Sherrod Gantz in the building. Angelise Taranjo Rosales, John Hurix, Crystal Nolan Brandon, Yolanda McKinney, Michael Benton, who was with us last week. Views did very, very well, I might add, along with Greg Sneed. Principal Dot McKeever Jeter's in the building. Boyd George, Rodney Richardson, Lysandra Brackens, and I said Boyd George, not Boy George, right? We got Maria Angelica, Aunt Maria, Asilis Mayer. I hope I got that right, up there in Newburgh, New York. I used to do some work up there a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic. Where we at? This thing just jumped on me. We got Professor Sherrod Lamont Laws in the building. Tiffany House is in the building. Scott Wiley's in the building. I think I said Josh Tovar, right? Yeah, MPA Jaguars. We got Dr. Sheikah Houston in the building. We got Jessica Riley, D. Walker. Teresa Thacker is here in the building. We got my wife, the queen, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, in the building. Some of y'all saw my post last night. She cooked me some smelts, man. People were like, what are smelts? Some people were saying, what are smelts? Other people were saying, I didn't have those since I was young. You know, them little fish, man, got the little single bone in them, a little bigger than sardines, though. And, you know, they a treat, man. So I just sat up and ate them until they were gone, man. We got Foxy Brown 555 in the building. Deshaun Simmons, Darnell McElveen, Jelani Cortez, my man KTV is in the building. He did a podcast interview with me recently. Go to his page and check it out. Mine, you have to go down too far to find it. We got Principal Stacy Mabry in the building. She's not principal anymore, but I call her that because she was once a principal, always a principal. She'll be on the on the platform with me soon. That's going to be dynamite too. We got Principal Deborah Howard in the building out there in Dayton. We got my man, Principal Otis Kitchen II. He's fine. He was down there. We're going to talk about the hurricane in a minute, but he's down there in Tampa, but he's fine. I don't know if he got his power back yet, but he's fine. We got Ohio Girl Jones in the building. Marie from Yonkers, New York. We got my man Lou Saunders in the building. Muriel, No Nonsense, Christine Marie. Hit that share button, hit the retweet button when you come in. We got a big topic today. Facebook user Casey Washington, she reached out to me and said she just can't seem to convert that Facebook user name. So, but she told me who she was. So good to see you, Casey Washington. We got Jocelyn Nelson, Darlene Pettit, my man, Matthew Stevens in the building. Hey, my brother, how you been doing? I haven't seen you in a minute. But good to see you. That means you are alive and well and doing your thing. I do see you from a distance, though. I see what you post. I see the programs. You've been doing big things for longer than some of the people on here been living, right? So that's not to tell your age. You just been on the front lines for a long time. That's my man Matthew Stevens. Check him out, y'all. He's coming to me from LinkedIn, but you can find him on LinkedIn, Facebook, all over the place. D. Walker is in the building. In fact, I might say this about Matt Stevens. He used to do these statewide young men's empowerment conferences. It was New Jersey statewide. And I mean, man, this thing was big. They were bringing young men from all over New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York City. I mean, we filled up a basketball arena, right? Rutgers and North, of just all these young men he used to bring, and it was just a big thing in the workshops, the keynotes, everything. I used to take my young men from North Tech down there or the other schools I led. Matt Stevens in the building, man. You got to give people their props when you see them. We got Priscilla Dunson Lee. We got Wendy Chinchilla in the building. Bev Hill, my man, the good doctor, Marcus Jackson, looking snazzy. Now y'all don't know what that means unless you saw his post. But the young man, one of the students saw him, said, "You looking snazzy." But the other young men didn't know what the word meant. So when they looked it up, oh, you got drip. But see, they don't know some of the old school language. So it's a powerful post, Doc. I like that one. Sean Hurt in the building, as I said before. Stephanie Jacob, my man, it's 11:02, y'all. I got to stop the shout outs. Melissa Jones Chuner was in the building. I gotta make sure I get her in there because she's a regular. Bobby Morgan, Tony McClenny. I'm ready to go. Look here, y'all. Dana Clark, I see all of you. I'm glad you're here. So let me just say formally, let's get it going. Hit the share button, hit the retweet button. Let them know we're here. Good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 127 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And as I say every week, I don't know about you, but I think I do know about you relative to how you feel this morning. For whatever the reason, you got up this morning, you tuned in to my man, Sean Hurt at 10 o'clock. You tuned in to my buddies, Dr. Sheikah Houston and Principal Tammy Taylor at 10:30. And then you didn't see it robbery to stay on, but to switch over and come to Principal Kafele, Virtual AP Leadership Academy. So for that reason, I want you to know how I feel. I'm on fire. Woo! Yeah, man. That's how I feel. But yeah, man, I had to release that, right? That's my release. But I decided, man, last week I lost my voice doing that twice. And I said, no more twice. That's it, one time. Right? Because I got to sustain this voice for this whole broadcast, right? So I'm letting you know that I'm on fire, but I'm telling you I'm on fire because I want that to resonate with you. Because I do the work I do, but I don't do anymore the work you do. You on them front lines, baby. That's not easy work. As we're going to talk about today, it can be frustrating, it can be discouraging, it can be disappointing. It is not easy work, but you get up and do it. But there's a certain energy that you got to bring with you. There's a certain enthusiasm you've got to bring with you. There's a certain excitement that you've got to bring with you. There's a certain passion for the work, passion for the children, passion for your staff, passion for the school, passion for your goals, passion for your purpose, passion for your mission, passion for your vision that you've got to bring with you every day. So for that reason, I say you got to bring them flames. You got to bring that fire. So make sure that you never leave home without the fire that's going to sustain you each and every day. So with that said, my quick commentary this morning, it's going to be real quick because it's going to tie right into the message today. And today is Solo Saturday. First Saturday of the month is always solo, man. I ain't got no guest on first Saturdays of the month. It's just me. I'm calling it frustration, discouragement, and disappointment may be your current situation. Like, so for somebody out there that's feeling it right now, it may be your current situation, but it doesn't have to be your permanent reality. Let me say that again. Frustration, talking about leadership frustration, discouragement, disappointment. It may be, it may not be, but it may be your current real-time situation. I get it. I know I had it, but it doesn't have to be your permanent reality. What distinguishes the two is you and how you approach it, how you treat it, how you deal with it, how you contend with it. That's on you. I wrote, check out a post I wrote yesterday afternoon. I was sitting outdoors at a restaurant. And I said, man, I took off 2 weeks. Man, people were inviting me to speak in September. I was like, nah. They're calling me, man, good money. Nah. Let's try like November, December, January, for whatever. So I'm getting the calls. I'm just pushing the money away. I'm pushing the opportunity away. Nah, thank you. But you tell them, but I'm honored you called. But nah. So that was 2 weeks worth. Then I said, okay. Then I'm gonna take a week. I'm gonna work right this in October. But then the last 2 weeks, that's my birthday week in there. I said I ain't working then either. Right. So I'm only working 1 week in this month. That's it. And it ain't even 5 days. It's 3 days. That's it. Because I had to take some me time. See, this work, I love what I do, but it gets frustrating. All you gotta do is ask my wife. She'll tell you I don't share it in the public. This thing gets frustrating. It gets discouraging. It becomes disappointing. Because hey, I don't love everybody sitting in them audiences, man. I'm gonna keep it real. Some of that stuff, man, you look at some of them people, the way they looking at you, and it's like, man, when I'm gonna get out of here, man, I got another 6 hours. Dang. Right. So, but then, sometimes you just need to get away from that. Right. And not just the people in the audience. I mean, the hustle and the bustle of the travel. So sometimes you just got to get away from that. So like I'm home now. I had written, I said, but I ain't stopping this virtual academy. I'm going to do this. But all the other stuff, I said, nah, we put that on hold. I'm saying to you, it's all about the way you deal with it. This is how I'm dealing with it. I did sneak in a presentation I want to shout out on Thursday night, though. I didn't even tell people. I made it look like I haven't worked. No, I worked Thursday night. Shout out to the principals in New Brunswick and Bayonne, New Jersey, that were at the New Jersey Principal and Supervisor Association kickoff that I spoke at on Thursday night. If any of you are on here, shout out to you. Shout out to NJPSA, New Jersey Principal Supervisor Association, for having me as the kickoff for this 2-year cohort. Much respect, much appreciated. Let's keep moving, y'all. Prayers to everybody in the path of Hurricane Ian, right? It's incredible. I watched a lot of it on television. It's just incredible what people had to endure, lives lost, but what people had to endure, their life savings, their property, everything they own destroyed. I watched this young lady, this young girl, it was 2 of them, but young woman, but one of them, she was a little bit more vocal, and she said, like, everything is gone. I got nothing. And your heart just reaches out. Your soul reaches out. Man, forget political lines, racial lines, ethnic lines, cultural lines, sexual orientation lines, gender lines, whatever lines people want to draw. Humanity comes first, man. And just prayers, thoughts. Wish I could do more for everybody that was in that path. We're in the path here in Jersey, but it's rain and wind. Nothing is going to be destructive here. But shout, just thoughts and prayers to everybody. And this is the world we're in. Hurricanes are nothing new, but I think they're getting a little bit more intense. But we won't get into all that. That's not what you're here for. Also, Today is October 1st, which means it's the first day of National Principals Month. So shout out to all the principals out there, man. Y'all do the work, man. Y'all do the thing, man. Principalship is a big deal. I feel blessed that I could. I mean, it's like hear me, somebody. It's a blessing that I can say that I was a principal, and obviously I'm still one. My name is. You see the name on the screen. I'm Principal Kafele. So it's a blessing that I could say to anybody. Oh, I served as a principal. That word work is a problem. I served as a principal, right? It's a blessing, man. I can be somewhere, people talking about what they do. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. But I can step in there. Hey, well, I was a principal. Because you can't, and here's what it is. You can't top that. You can't top. Superintendent is not more important than me, the principal. You kidding me? Nah, man. Principal, because the principal's in the building with the children. We serve and we lead and we guide and we direct, right? And so much more that I could talk about. Those are probably other topics, right? But what a beautiful thing. So to the principals out there, shout out to you. Happy Principals Month. And I hope that your schools, they recognize that and your superintendents and assistant supes and people around you, that this is your month. Let me keep going, y'all. Welcome to all the first timers here. Week 127. If you're a first timer, then you know my question: where you been for the past 126 weeks, for the past over 2 years, right? But I'm glad you're here. Make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, hit the red button, and subscribe to it. It's called the Virtual AP Leadership Academy. Subscribe to that, and then binge watch all 126. I say this, I say it kind of jokingly, but I guess I'm really being honest. Ain't nothing like this nowhere on the internet, man. Not this Virtual AP Leadership Academy. Ain't nothing like this. No. Not for assistant principals, but yet benefits the principal. Yet benefits the assistant superintendent, yet benefits the superintendent, yet benefits the commissioner of education, yet benefits the teacher, yet benefits the parent, the student, the lay person that's not even an educator. Ain't nothing like this, man. I don't mean to be tooting my horn. Toot. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just being honest, man. Ain't nothing like this out here, man. Right? So you in the right place. So you need to see the 126 previous to this one. All right, let's go. Real quick, I hate doing this, but I got to, man. I wrote 12 books. No, 13. The newest one I just finished. I forgot to tell you about that. But that's, I'm not going to talk about that today. That's coming out next spring. But these are the two. The Assistant Principal 50, Aspiring Principal 50 that accompany the Saturday Academy. Just go to Amazon, get your copy. If you're Amazon Prime, they send it to you tomorrow, right? Then you can start reading. The new book, we'll talk about that later. It'll be out in May 2023, if not sooner. I'm rocking the Cleveland Buckeyes. The shirt I had hanging up today was a New York Yankees. I just bought it, pinstripe, white. I just got it. I'm not a Yankee fan. I bought that shirt solely to support Aaron Judge, who seems to be struggling with hitting number 62. But then I woke up this morning, I said, man, I ain't wearing no shirt for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge ain't wearing no shirt for me. I said, I'm going back to the brand that I started with this academy, Negro League jerseys, Cleveland Buckeyes. And if Aaron Judge hits number 62, then maybe I'll rock it then. But I ain't, man, I love Aaron Judge, but you wear a shirt for me that says Kafele on the back, and then I'll wear that Judge shirt, right? Let's go. I'm ready to go. Hit the share button, hit the retweet. I'm ready to get going, y'all. My topic today is navigating assistant principal leadership frustration, discouragement, and disappointment. I got my man Stallings up here so long. Let me get him out of here, right? So I got to give you the genesis for this before I get into it. I talk, I don't just present. I talk to folks and listen. I have conversations and I listen. Hey, Stallings, ain't never gonna happen. The day I put that jersey up is the day I'm taking the same drugs he was taking. We'll leave that right there, right? So here I'm saying I talk to people and a lot of folks, assistant principals in particular. And I'm not talking about COVID frustration. That's a whole other conversation. I'm talking about just frustration as it relates to the role of the AP. I've been listening to the comments for years. But principals have their own frustrations as well. But because this is called, as you see the overlay on the screen there, the watermark, Virtual AP Leadership Academy. I want to be true to the AP, but I am praying that principals are on here watching to hear what I have to say. Now, so I generated this list. I said, what are the concerns? Like, what are the frustrations? What are the disappointments? What are the discouragements? What are they? So I sat here during this time off I have, and I just generated this list of everything I've been hearing. And man, let me tell y'all something. That list was about 150 concerns strong. 150 plus concerns strong that I had just retained over time. Some I had written in various notes that I take because I do a lot of journaling and that type of thing. So I said, well, I can't do 150 on this academy. Even if I stretch it out to 3 or 4 sessions, I can't, it's going to be hard to do 3 or 4 sessions of negativity, right? Because that's what this is. So I may have to space them out, like do one in October, another one in December, another one in like March. I don't know. We'll figure that part out. But I came up with 150 that I've just heard people articulate. And I put it, and I created this agenda for today, where I just want to focus on 30 of them. That's all. But I don't even know if I'm going to get to the 30. I don't know. We'll see. So here's the thing. I was deliberate. I want you to hear this. I was deliberate in not infusing my own personality in terms of my suggestions and recommendations. Because I don't want you to be me. Because Vincent Stallings knows if I give you the suggestions and the recommendations to be me, then you'll be standing at a board hearing fighting for your job at your termination hearing, right? So I can't give you stuff that'll make you be like me, because that's where it got me. I'm proud of it though, right? I keep alluding to that every so often, that I'm proud of those days, but I'm not trying to create more of those because you may not get through it the way I did, right? So I'm going to be as objective as I possibly can on this topic. You should be journaling your frustrations, your discouragement, and your disappointments ongoing. You should be journaling that because you want to make reference to it as you grow, right? Or as it's sustained, whatever it is. I know, Stars, I'm going to write that. It's coming. It's coming. I'm doing it the 20th anniversary, which will be 2024. I'm writing that book. I'm just waiting 20 years. We got a year to go. So journal all of this, and we'll get into more why you should as time progresses. My purpose in writing this, because I'm not going to have the silver bullet solution to these various frustrations, because I'm not having one-on-one conversations, right? I'm speaking very broadly and vaguely because I don't have your specificity, right? So I just want to. And a lot of these are not going to apply to everybody. I got 150. I told you I'm only going to cover 90, but I'm going to try to get to 30 in the day. But I want to give you that backdrop. I'm just, I'm going to give you this, what I give you, and then you take it and use it however you see fit. I'm talking to a ton of you about how you, but I will be talking a ton about how you utilize your people skills and your communication skills. That's going to be at the heart and soul of everything I say today. Your people skills, your communication skills, how you utilize both. And I'm not going in any particular order, right? And when I say that communication skill and people skill, I'm talking about how you communicate with your principal, because most of these concerns are solely principal AP concerns. Most of these concerns can only be addressed by the principal, right? And I bet you, before I go to the first one, that if you all think about it, you look at your current reality in terms of those who feel frustration. I bet you right there at the core of the resolution of the issue is your relationship with the principal, right? That's just critical. So let's go. I got 30 items to talk about. I don't know if I'm gonna get through 30 at 11:21, but let's get through as many as we can. Keep them comments coming. Hit the share button. Let them Facebook groups know Donna's on here. So I know you do that in those other groups. And I hear a lot of podcasters and live streamers say hit the like button. I don't do it, but I think I will today, October 1st. Hit that like button too, man. Everybody says, the like button's important too. Tell them to hit the like button. I'm like, man, I ain't into this for that. But hit the like button, man. Let them know you like what you hear, right? So let's go. Number one, knowing you are not the principal's choice or first choice can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Let me say that to you again. Knowing that you were not the principal's choice. So here you are, you working with whomever, with principal whomever, but you discovered or you discerned, you found out that you were not the first choice for this principal. You were kind of imposed. So now you're in a situation where you're working with a principal that really didn't want you, right? That's real. So I've heard that. I've seen that. So knowing that you were not the first choice, knowing that you are not the choice at all can be frustrating, discouraging, or disappointing. So here I'm saying, when you applied, this is my response to that now. When you applied for the job, hear me, somebody. Matter of fact, get your mirror and look within yourself for the rest of this session today. When you applied for the job, whether or not you were the first choice or the second choice was no concern of yours. You didn't go to that interview thinking to yourself, I hope, you wanted to be hired, but in terms of the reality of the job, you weren't going in there thinking, I hope I'm the first choice of the principal. You just wanted to nail that interview and land that position so that you were in position to effectuate change for children. That's why you were in that position. So I'm saying to you, you just wanted the opportunity. You are there to do a job. So I'm saying to you, if that applies to someone out there, don't get caught up into whether or not you were the choice of the principal, the first choice, the second choice, because as I said here in my notes in capital letters, bold font, it ain't your business whether or not you were the first choice, the second choice, the choice at all. You are there to do a job, but if you are an aspiring principal, you are there to do a very temporary job. That's not your permanent landing spot. You're just there to do a job, to learn the role of the assistant principalship, and then to move on to become the principal. So don't let yourself get caught up into whether or not someone likes you relative to you being the first choice, second choice. That ain't your business. Your business is the work at hand. Your business is to make sure that you're getting what you can get in order for you to get to that permanent position or your next level. So the assistant principalship for any aspiring principal is a temporary position. That's all it is. It's a stepping stone to your next level. Always bear that in mind. Enough said, because I got 30 of these and I'm only on number 2. Number 2, not being treated as a professional by your principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Once again, not being treated as a professional educator by your principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Hey, somebody, hit that share button, hit that retweet button, tag somebody, call somebody, text somebody, let them know, man, I'm speaking to somebody's world this morning. So I'm saying you're not being treated as a principal. Well, that's where your people skills now kick in. They must kick in, because if you are working directly with or under a principal who is not treating you as a professional, then there is a need for a conversation. Let me say what there's not a need for. That's not your time. In fact, I'm not going to give you any examples today of where you should go above the head of the principal in terms of complaint. I'm not giving you that. I'm telling you what you need to do to deal with your situation toward rectifying your situation. I'm not telling you to go above someone's head because that might make your situation worse. That might have career-long adverse implications. So we're not even getting into that. What we're getting into today is how you need to respond. So I'm saying you like you looking in your own mirror and you saying, I'm not being treated professionally. Well, my question to you is, then what are you doing about it? Are you engaging the principal in that private conversation, one-on-one, just the two of you, right? In that room, having a conversation where you are cordial, where you can maintain a pleasant look, where you have the right body language that is not threatening, where you say to that principal, I just need you to know, I don't feel that I'm being treated professionally here, right? And then whatever emanates out of what you said, now we going to dialogue on that so that principal understands that you're just simply asking to treat me as a professional, not as some underling, but as a professional educator. In this case, one of your peers, an administrator. So your people skills are key. Your communication skills are key. So I'm asking you, if this is applicable to your life, your leadership, have you taken the initiative to engage your principal in that conversation? Or are you leery of having it? Are you standoffish about having it? Because if you don't have the boldness, the courage to engage him, to initiate him or her in the conversation, then why are you expecting your situation to change? It's not going to change. It's going to be this exact same thing as it was. So you have to engage that person in the conversation. Enough said, because I got so many of these. I could literally spend the whole session just on any one of these. Number 3, feeling that you are being perceived as a threat by your principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Let me say that again. Feeling that you are being perceived as a threat by your principal can be frustrating, discouraging, or disappointing. And that's real. You can be in a situation where you're just trying to do your job, but there could be something about your positivity. There could be something about your confidence. Said differently, your self-efficacy, that because of who that person is, no knock on that person, just who that person is, they are having difficulty with who you are, the way you are. Now, that's on the one hand. But on the other hand, you may be going beyond assertion and you may be aggressive. And now maybe you're overstepping bounds. I don't know. I'm only talking now. But you have to consider that person in the way you're being perceived, because you are not number one in that building. You are assistant principal in that building. And that relationship has to work. If for nothing else, hear this well too. Put your ear to the speaker on this one. If for nothing else, that you need that person's recommendation for when you want to become a principal, right? You need that person's recommendation. So I'm saying, where it's in my notes. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to it. Glad to see you too. So I'm saying here, you got to temper some of that. Because, and again, because I keep saying it's temporary, and that relationship has got to work. And if that principle is threatened by you, then your exposure to a lot of what you need to learn as a leader is never going to come your way unless you take the initiative one way or the other. That principle's got to be comfortable with you being in that space. That principal's got to be comfortable with you sitting in that seat. That principal's got to be comfortable with you wearing that label, assistant principal. And when that person feels threatened by your presence, there's toxicity in the relationship between the two of you. But I can't ask that principal to change. This is not a principal platform. It's an assistant principal platform. So I got to speak directly to you. And as positive, as confident, and as assertive, and as dominating as your personality may be, you've got to consider who that is you're working with. And you got to make some adjustments so that that relationship works. You cannot be in a situation where you're going to grow, but you work in a situation where you are with a principal who is threatened by you. It is not going to work. Let's go. And I'll add this to it. So therefore, there's a need for a conversation if you perceive that. Not just you shifting. Have the conversation. Because if you sense it, then it's probably a problem. So that's your people skills. You're going to know how to talk to them. You ain't going all in there with your chest out and aggressive, but you go in there knowing how to engage this person. And always remember, you're the AP, not the principal of the building. Let's go. Number 4. Watch this. Working under a newly hired principal who seemingly doesn't like you or is threatened by you or intimidated by you can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Once again, and this happens all the time, working under a newly hired principal who seemingly doesn't like you or is threatened by you or is intimidated by you can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So in terms of my response to that, the key word is seemingly. Let me say that again, seemingly, because I said a newly hired principal who seemingly doesn't like you, right? Well, the key word being seemingly, because maybe that's your wrong perception. Maybe it's a misperception of the way you're being seen and you interpreted it wrong, incorrectly. So you got to make sure that you're on point with what you perceive as a dislike or threat or intimidation. So here I'm asking the question then self-reflectively, how do I know that he doesn't like me, that she doesn't like me? How do I know? Is there a possibility that I may need to examine my own demeanor? Have I had a conversation? But the key word, seemingly. We're talking today about navigating assistant principal leadership, frustration, discouragement, and disappointment. Let's go. Number 5. I'm going through these quickly. Lack of support from the principal. Lack of support from the principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So here's my question to you, if this applies to you. What kind of support are you seeking? Right? Because see, it's easy to say, I don't get support. And that's why the journaling is so important. Because within the journaling, you want to be able to respond to that in a way of saying, well, what kind of support do I need versus things I just need to do? See, sometimes we think we need support when we don't need support. We just need to take the initiative. So what type of support am I seeking? But I follow that up with, is the principal aware that I need this support? The principal could be unaware that you feel that you need support. The principal may be thinking you're content, that you love the job, that you love what you do. So therefore the communication is key. But first you come into grips with, what is the support you're seeking? The principal may be unaware. You must therefore engage the principal in the conversation, letting the principal know that here's the support I'm looking for. Point A, point B, point C, point D. These are the areas of support that I need from you in order for me to grow. You can't let principals just make assumptions, and you can't make assumptions. So that's why you got to journal, man. Here you go. You got to journal. You got to journal. So now you're gonna go in there with this list. Here's what I need. Here's what I need from you, principal. And if I can get this from you, I'm going to soar. I'm going to be able to form at a much higher level. It matters, right? So let's go. I got so much here, man. Buckle up. Number 6, lack of guidance from the principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and supporting. Now, here I'm not saying support, I'm talking guidance. Lack of guidance from the principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. What am I saying? I'm saying here your principal may be unaware of the guidance that you may require and assume you are content with your current responsibilities. So the same thing I said about support, principal may see you working, see your smile, see you moving, seeing you getting certain things done and feel, okay, he's a self-starter, she's a self-starter, nothing for me to do. But here you're thinking, no, I'm doing these things, but I don't feel that this is the pathway in terms of what I'm doing to the principalship. I need certain guidance from you. Well, that's that conversation. But see, the principal may be providing you with a degree of autonomy toward gauging how well you work independently. Let me say that to you again, because you may have missed that. The principal it may not be that the principal's not giving you guidance. It may be that the principal is giving you autonomy. See, that's different. The principal may be giving you a degree of autonomy as a test to gauge how well you work independently. See, so then when you go through your debriefing, then you guys, you both can have, my daughter gets on me about that word. So now you all can have the conversation about the kind of guidance that you need, right? Because think about it. Some of you as APs, you fresh out of the classroom, man. You don't know what to do. Some of you as APs, you've been working as an AP for a month. So I'm not expecting you to be proficient. I'm not expecting you to know a whole lot of too much outside of what you got in grad school. So therefore, yeah, the principal may be like, put you out there and let's see what you could do. Like sometime, when the youngsters learning how to ride a bike, at some point, we got to say, all right, go. When I was teaching my daughter how to drive a car, in fact, all 3 of my kids, at some point, you got to let go and let God, right? Let go and let God, right? And hopefully they can do it. But sometimes you got to let go. So sometimes a principal's like, let me let go. Let me back off. Let me see what they can do without me breathing over them. So that's why the conversation is so critical, because you don't know the incentive of the principal. So it may not be that this principal is lax and not giving you what you need. It may be because that principal is growing you differently by letting you fly and seeing what you can do if your wings are strong enough to keep that lift, right? You got to understand how airplanes fly to know what I just said. When that lift, you get lift by that wind under the wing. So maybe trying to see if you can get some lift under your wing so you can fly. But that's why the communication, it matters. It matters. Hit that share button, hit that retweet button. Let them know, man. I'm trying to talk to everybody on here. Everything on here doesn't apply to you, but it applies to somebody. But somebody, it may not apply to you today, but it might apply to you tomorrow. See, so let's go. Number 7, lack of direction. Before I said guidance, now I'm saying direction from the principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So in other words, as it stands now, you feel lost, right? I'll give you this a scenario anyway. You feel lost and don't know the full extent of what your daily task should be, right? So you in the school, you new assistant principal, you seasoned assistant principal, and you're in the school, you know that discipline piece, you know that lunch duty piece, you know that bus duty piece, but you don't know anything else. So you feeling like, man, I need me some direction, man. I'm in here and I know there's more to this role than just doing cafeteria duty, than doing bus duty, than reading disciplinary referrals. But I need direction. Well, then engage the principal in the conversation about what you need to get that direction. That's not a crime. That's good leadership by you engaging the principal in that conversation, right? So just engage the principal. And then if you're feeling that the principal needs to provide you with direction, as I said before, there's a conversation that must occur. Let me go to number 8. Lack of opportunity to grow can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. And when I say these 3 words at the end of each of these statements, I mean, some of us, and this is inclusive of myself, the discouragement, the frustration, and the disappointment doesn't stay in the building. We bring that home. So now we complaining to our spouse, we complaining to our children, we complaining to our relatives that we call, right? It's our friends, etc. We're having gripe sessions. But you can alleviate that through the conversations. And let's say that the conversation's going nowhere. Well, I got a response to that too. Let me go in sequence though. So if you're an aspiring principal and your role is all about, let me say that again. If you're an aspiring principal, your role is all about growth. Now, if you're not an aspiring principal, we still want you to grow into becoming the best AP that you can be. But if you're an aspiring principal, you want to be a principal, and you're lacking opportunity as a leader, I'm saying to you, that's got to be rectified, because your role as an AP is all about growth. It is all about growth. That's what it is. As Sean Hurt said this morning, we bring it home, man. Well, we want to be in a position where I don't have to bring that home, a gripe session home, right? So therefore, I'm saying to you, you must make your principal aware that you aspire to become a principal. That person may not know that, and that you want to be exposed to all facets of school leadership. You don't want to be limited to the big 3: bus duty, cafeteria duty, discipline. You want to be exposed to all facets, which includes the ability to be instructional leader and coach. You want exposure to that. So therefore, there's a conversation. But I say this to you, and this is very important. If the exposure to grow is not there, right? If the opportunity to grow is simply not there, you must grow yourself. Man, what's he talking about? I'm going to say it again before I respond to it. You must grow yourself. See, in other words, here's what I'm saying. If the opportunity's not there, that doesn't mean you can't learn. Because there are colleagues out there that you can converse with. There are virtual AP leadership academies out there, this one. There are all sorts of conferences, all sorts of institutes, all sorts of podcasts, all sorts of books, all sorts of journals, all sorts of professional development organizations, all sorts of Twitter. And I'm going to leave it at Twitter because it's out there with all that information. So if somebody's going to deprive me, Melissa said no excuse, right? If somebody's going to deprive me, I'm going to be all right. And I was that guy, but I ain't going to make this about me. I was him. I said, all right, you ain't going to expose me. I got it. And I went on and learned what I had to learn. You might stop me from exposing me from you, but you're not going to stop me from learning. So I learn, I study, and that's inclusive of studying the principal. So the principal becomes an extension of grad school. I'm going to study this person, and I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to study what you do right, and I'm going to study what you do wrong. I'm going to study that which I could take from you, and I'm going to study that which I know not to do because I saw you do it. So you served as my example, right? As they say, my archetype. So now I know what not to do, right? So let's keep it moving. I'm trying to read y'all's comments and stay focused. So work with me. Let's go. Number 9. Lack of leadership from the principal can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Let me look in the camera on that one, because I'm talking to principals too. Lack of leadership. So in other words, I'm not talking about guidance. I'm not talking about direction. I'm saying principle. Let me talk to the principals for a second. Principal, you've got to demonstrate leadership. And a part of that leadership is how you train up and coach up your assistant principal. That's leadership too. See, so with that, you could be in a position where you are with a leader lacking leadership competence as it relates to developing an assistant principal. Woo! I gotta say that one again. You could be in a situation where you got a leader that's very effective in a whole lot of areas, but lacks competence in assistant principal development. That may not be that person's wheelhouse. Well, it's not an excuse, but it gives you a vehicle to engage that person in a conversation, because that person may not even realize that they are incompetent in developing you. They may not even know it. You cannot assume anything. You can't assume anything. You can't assume because a person has a title of principal that they know everything about being a principal. You can't assume that just because, like I'm wearing a baseball uniform, you can't assume that because someone's wearing a baseball uniform and that they play baseball, that they can play every position. Because you're great playing right field doesn't mean you can be great playing left field. How about that? Because you're great as a right fielder does not necessarily make you great as a center fielder, and that is right next door. Because you're great at shortstop doesn't make you a great second baseman. And obviously, because you're a great catcher doesn't make you a great pitcher. So therefore, I'm saying to you, you can't expect just because your principal is a principal that your principal is great at everything. Hey, Carlos Baggage, I tried, man. That came off the top of my head. You see how transparent I am, y'all? I don't have a problem being transparent. It's just who I am, right? So here I'm saying to you, by you having the conversation, just the conversation alone, if you bring the right people skills, can allow your principal to grow because of you. See, I don't see, like I'm cut from a different cloth, y'all. I don't mind learning from people who haven't done what I do. I don't mind learning from people who are younger than me. I don't mind learning, like my kids. I got a 31-year-old son, a 28-year-old son, and a 23-year-old daughter. You better best believe I learn from them. I don't always tell them I'm learning from them, but I'm processing. Right? Daughter see me misusing technology and she'll step right in. Like, yo, what are you doing? Right? So I don't have a problem with that. So you may be with a principal, and here Freddie just said it. You may be with a principal who doesn't mind being a student, particularly when you are cognizant about the way you come off with that leader. It matters. Let's go, y'all. I'm getting ready to get a little heavier now. I'm on number 10. Staff seeing the way you are being mistreated and underutilized by your principal, which can undermine your authority, can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Ooh, I think I need to read that one again. That was a lot there. Staff seeing the way you are being mistreated and underutilized by your principal, which can undermine your authority, can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. My response to that, man, Danielle, I see you out there. I see you. Right. So here, on the one hand, the principal may not even be aware that this is happening. May not even be aware. Right. So I'm saying to you, you must inform him, her, of its impact on your authority. Because if this is happening, your principal is mistreating you, underutilizing you, and your staff see it, it is plain as day. Then let me tell you something. Your authority is being snatched from right under your feet. Staff see it. They see what's happening, and they might even use it. See? So I'm saying to you, the conversation matters. And I mean, you can be straightforward just using your people skills. Principal. And give like here. You've been journaling. You're not coming off the top of your head. You can bring this in the meeting with you. Principal. Back on September 28th, this is what happened. You said this to me. 5 teachers were present. I felt this big. I know they talked about it with others. A couple of them came and talked to me and expressed sympathy for me. Principal, this thing reverberated throughout the building. My authority is being undermined because of the way you spoke to me, or the way you spoke to me in that staff meeting, or when I was speaking at the staff meeting and you corrected me right in front of the staff. They all saw that, and it made me feel that big. Principal, let's talk about other ways we could handle that, because I supervise these teachers. I supervise half the staff, and I need them to respect my authority as a leader. Because if they don't respect my authority, I cannot lead them. I cannot supervise them. See, so I'm giving you that just as an example because it's so real, right? So looked at differently. That principal, that might be who that person is. Your people skills, therefore, are exponentially important. Because think about it. Think about, you've got this leader that undermine your authority, right? And you have a conversation. But that's that person's personality. Like, they have no issue with that. Like we'll call on the street, we'll say these are nasty people, right? And I meet nasty people. I have nasty people in some of my audiences, right? But that's for that book that I'm gonna write later. So these people are real. Nasty people who will say anything to you and not care. Say anything, any kind of way to you and not care about your emotions or how you look in the presence of others. These people exist, and you know that. Well, sometimes these people are our direct supervisor. Sometimes these people are our boss, and they have no issue with making you look bad and feel small in the presence of others, or just between the two of you. And that's where you got to step in. Now, a situation like that where now you're being abused and violated, that's different. Then you may have to go over that person's head. But first and foremost, before you even go there, it's a conversation, right? It's a conversation. And if it's that bad, it might even be a memorandum that I'm just going to document this thing. I'm going to send it to you. This is how I'm feeling. Not in a way to create a very unhealthy, toxic relationship with you. And it's only October and you got to live with this person for the rest of the year. I don't want to impose. I know me, and I don't want to impose me in this conversation. Because like, for example, I'm gonna give you this example, but I don't want you to run with this. I'll let somebody know how I feel. I will tell you just what's on my mind, and I will suffer the consequences. But that's me, and I don't want to be reckless on this platform and say to you, yo, go at this person, because that may not be your personality, or you may not have a plan B to fall on if God forbid you lose your position, right? So I don't want to be reckless and careless like that. I'm just letting you know that's my personality. Ain't nobody walking over me, right? So I'm saying here, for the purpose of this platform, your people skills matter. But, closely related to that number 10 in terms of undermining your authority, same words, except I want to replace the word authority with this word. Staff seeing you, and this is number 11, staff seeing the way you are being mistreated and underutilized by your principal, which can undermine your credibility. So instead of the word authority now, your credibility can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So again, which can undermine your credibility, which can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So I'm giving you the same response that on the one hand, this person may not be aware that is going on. They may not even understand that they're undermining you. They may not understand that they're mistreating you. They may not understand that they are rude, right? They may not understand that their personality is nasty, right? Disgraceful, right? So therefore, it's a need for you to engage in that conversation, right? As far as you can. See, it's one thing if someone, I haven't seen this written in the thread, but if someone said, well, that principle needs to shift, but here's the problem with that. No one wrote that, but I'm saying hypothetically, I'm talking to APs right now, and AP can't wait for principle to change because principle may not change. So therefore, I'm talking to APs who may be bringing this crap home every day. Like you were so gung-ho, your family was, they saw you. You were so excited, working hard for that degree, working hard in grad school. You were so excited about your next step. And I mean, you were upbeat, rah, rah, rah. You're not sleeping, you working around the clock, studying, writing your papers and so forth. And then you got the position and you are deflated. You were disappointed. You were discouraged. You were frustrated. And it's not what I thought it was going to be. And then I go on the Facebook principal group pages. Hear me, somebody. I'm not going to call anybody out. It's on those pages. And the comment, they use them big signs. You can write with the signs as opposed to just the regular text. Somebody help me. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm frustrated. I want to return back to the classroom. I read that stuff on them pages, man. I see it. And then I always respond. It doesn't have to be that way. But you can't wait for that person you're frustrated with or those situations and events in your school. You got to change. You got to adapt to whatever that is that's going on in your school. You got to make it work. And in this case, I've been putting a lot on the principal, but I'm getting ready to shift out of that and talk about some other things in the school beyond the principal. So stay here. Don't leave. In fact, the very next one. So hit the share button, hit the retweet button, because watch this here, y'all. Number 12, working in a racist work environment can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Y'all didn't hear that. Let me say it again. Working in a racist work environment can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So here you are, the new assistant principal. And back when you was in the principal's chair, the teacher's chair, things were going well. But now you got in this school, and I can't address everybody's specific situation when you're dealing with racism on the job, but I'm going to give you a couple. And here you are, that new African-American assistant principal that school never seen before. They ain't never seen a black assistant principal or a principal. Or you that new Latinx assistant principal, and that's a change in that community. We ain't seen that before. We ain't seen that one. And now you feeling it. Let me tell y'all something. Sometime when I go out and speak, some of them audiences ain't never seen a black man before. Not in person, not a black man with intelligence anyway. Or in the capacity of exhibiting the intelligence would be a better way. They seen us playing football. They seen us playing basketball. They seen us singing and rapping. They seen us on the 6 o'clock news. But then here come me walking in there with a suit on. And I'm the only black person in the room, happen to be a black man. I'm gonna tell you something. I hope this doesn't turn anybody off. I'm just keeping it real. When I walk in there and start teaching in some of these places, it's folks in the audiences that are uncomfortable with my presence. I know that. I used to speculate on it, but then I started asking questions because I'm like that. Yeah, Kafele is a little different. I ain't never seen a black man do this. You got people in the class ain't never had a black person teach them before, and not the class, in the auditorium. They ain't never had a black man teaching them before. That's different. It creates cognitive dissonance because I'm not fitting the stereotype now. It creates cognitive dissonance. See, so I'm saying to you, as that, and I'm gonna be, man, y'all, I got a blockbuster book I'm gonna be writing. I just haven't written it yet. I'm waiting for 2024. But let me say this to you. Sometimes some of y'all, you go into these schools as that new administrator. I guess I'm talking to the folks of color right now first when we talk about that racist environment. And now, if you know, like a fish in water, they don't realize they fish and they in the water because they in the water. But you take them out the water, they gonna know something, right? Well, sometimes you could be in your skin and it's like, all right, I am who I am. But then you come into that school and it's like, oh, I forgot who I am. They reminded me now. I'm black man, I'm black woman, I'm Latino man, I'm Latino woman, Latino, Latina, right? It's the environment is reminding me, oh. So you knew AP. And let's add a layer to it. You weren't even the choice. Let me add another layer to it. It's a district that's predominantly white. Everybody's always been white. The AP that everybody wanted was white. And here come your black self walking in there. Here your Latino self walking in there. They like, oh, whoa, what happened? They complaining and all this kind of stuff, right? I'm keeping it real, y'all. Y'all know I don't be faking no funk, man. Y'all know that, right? So now it's like it don't feel right in there, man. It's tension in the building, right? It's tension in the building. But I'm asking you, because I said working in a racist work environment. So now you feel that racism. See, a lot of my audiences, they wouldn't know what I'm feeling on them stages because they ain't never walked in my shoes. A lot of them flight attendants wouldn't know what I'm feeling when I walk on them planes because they ain't never walked in my black shoes. So they don't know. So now what you feeling in that school, a lot of staff, administration, they don't know what you feeling because they never walked in your shoes. But you know. But let me tell you something. I got something to say about this. I got a question. You need to be asking yourself this question. In what way is this environment racist? Right? You got to ask yourself that question. And you already journaled it. You already journaled this thing, man. You wrote it. Right? So as it was happening in real time, you writing about it. So you journaling all about it. So now when it's time for you to self-reflect, all right, in what ways is this environment racist for me? In what way is this environment impacting my leadership? And have I engaged the principal in a conversation about it? Those are my 3 key questions. See, because here's the thing. Hear me, somebody. You the new AP. You ain't going in there changing no racism, especially if it's entrenched in the building. And here's another thing I didn't even mention. Is that racism coming from the staff or the students? Right? We can't discount the students either. So now, because here you are, this new AP, and you feeling it, right? So, but you want to rectify it. But I want to go back to my questions. In what way is this environment, do you perceive it to be racist? In what way is this environment impacting your leadership? And have you engaged your principal in the conversation? Because see, for me, when I'm in those environments, because I'm in them, I keep saying it, I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm in them. But man, put your ear to the speaker on this one. I'm not in there to make that audience love Principal Kafele. Y'all weren't expecting that. I know it. I'm gonna say it again. I'm on that stage. I'm feeling it. Cause see, when I'm with the audience that like loves Principal Kafele, like the supporters, right? Man, it's like heaven. The people amening you all day. All the phones are up filming you, right? Or taking pictures, but all the phones, they up. It's a line at the foot of the stage when you close that want selfies. But every place ain't gonna be like that. Other places, like when they introduce you, they clap like this. When you finish, you gave it your all. Ain't nobody standing up to clap. They go like this. Then the MC got to come up there and say, "Let's give Principal Kafele another big round of applause." I know what that is. I'll be 62 in a few days. You ain't fooling me with that. It's not give Kafele a big round of applause because he was so good. Let's do it again. It's what the hidden message is. Let's give him a round of applause because you ain't clapped for him the first time. That's what that is, right? But I understand that. So when I'm on that stage, I'm reminding myself, I ain't here to get no love from you. I'm here to reach you. Because you got some children in them classrooms that need my message, but they're not going to get it from me. They're going to get it from you. So I just need you to hear my words. I don't need you to love me. And since we're talking about a racist working environment, I don't need you to love Black people. I don't need you to love Latino people. I just need you to hear what we say so that you could take it to that classroom and implement it with those children. I hope you hear the difference, y'all, because I'm talking about you now. You ain't changing nobody's psyche. You ain't changing nobody's values, not short term. So you got to be reminded that I am here to do a job. Don't get caught up into all that madness, man. You are there to do a job. That's what you're there to do, right? Do your job. Understand the environment and position yourself in a way that folks are going to come around at some point. Don't be in there fighting it, because then that school can't be successful with you fighting and clashing all the time. Know where you are. Imagine I'm on stage and I'm fighting and clashing with what I'm perceiving is in the room. I ain't doing that. I'm there to do a job. They paying me good. I'm there to do a job. And I'm going to do that job. And I'm going to do it at a high level. And when I leave, if there's racism in that convention center or at that auditorium, they could say what they want to say behind my back. I don't like that Black so-and-so. I'm good with that. That because you are who you are. I ain't here to change your values. I'm here to just give you the information you need so that when you go back and teach them kids, you can take them to another level. I hope y'all hear me, man. I hope you hear me. Because some of y'all fighting the wrong battle. You there to get a job done. Because you can never forget the children are there to learn. You are there to ensure that the children are learning. You are not there to shift the values of them staff members. That ain't changing overnight, man. But for some reason, they hired you. They hired you. So you're in there. When you have those opportunities in staff meetings and PLCs to engage in the uncomfortable conversation about race, then go hard. I know I did. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about your day-to-day job. That's what I'm talking about. You can't be walking in that school and you ticked off, your tail between your legs, and you all, oh my God, it's so racist here. Listen, that ain't new to blacks and Latinos. It been that way for 400 years. You came here because of racism. So now in 2022, you can't be sitting up in the school feeling sorry. You got a job to do. You got a job to do, man. And you do that job. I ain't in no popularity contest when I'm doing that work. I don't need you to ask me for my autograph and a selfie. I'm there to lead. Hear me, somebody. I'm there to lead. There go my man, Elmani Viney. I'm there to lead. I ain't getting caught up in your madness. Because I ain't no racist, man. So I'm going there to do my job. And guess what? When it's time to go home, I'm coming back home to the queen. Y'all need to. Hey, Sean Hurt, we gonna get like me, you, Chica, Carlos. We gonna sit up. We gonna have that same conversation you had about the spousal support. We gonna do that as a conversation, man. We probably need to come together and be at a location, not this little virtual screen mess, a location with a big camera where we sitting together on some big chairs, chilling and having a real authentic conversation about spousal support when we come home. So I'm glad you put that in my soul, Sean Hurt, this morning. Now let me get back. So we at the job dealing with all that mess, right? But guess what? Whatever time I leave, I don't know what time I'm leaving, but whatever time I leave, I'm coming home to the queen. And the queen gonna make all that mess disappear. She out there listening too, right? The queen gonna make all that mess disappear. Cause ain't none of them as important as the queen. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Let's go. Man, it's 12:13. I said I got 30 of these, and I'm on number 13. All right, let's go, y'all. I ain't doing all 30 today. Listen, hit that share button. Here go the queen right here, y'all. Right, where she at? Here she is. Listen, y'all, number 13. Working in a sexist working environment can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing, right? Let me see what Deborah Howard said here, man. Smokey, get on that bass when I come. Listen, working in a sexist work environment can be frustrating, discouraging, disappointing. I don't have to belabor this because everything I said about working in that racist environment just transferred. That sexist environment. But I am going to say this because I don't want to be remiss. At some point, you got to file a complaint, right? Don't get me wrong on that. But I'm not filing the complaint until I have the conversation. I'm going to have the conversation. You're going to hear from me, right? Because if racism, sexism are happening under the watch of the principal going to hear from me first. Now, if principal and I can't resolve it in terms of what's happening in that building, then I'm going elsewhere. But I'm not going to tolerate it. But I'm not going to lose sight of the work either. Right? But if it's so overwhelming, then I got to file a complaint. But now I got another one. Working in a homophobic work environment can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So y'all didn't think I was going to go there. I go anywhere. Working in a homophobic work environment can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. I don't need to belabor that one. Everything I said, starting with the racist environment, But the point of the matter is, if it's overwhelming, and let's go back to my 3 questions. In what way is the environment racist, sexist, or homophobic? In what way is the environment impacting my leadership? And have I engaged the principal in a conversation about it? So I'm going to the principal first. And I'm gonna give you opportunity to step in wherever it's coming from. But if it's coming from you, the principal, and my conversation can't rectify that, I can't change your values. But principal, you better disguise your racism. You better disguise your sexism. You better disguise your homophobic behavior, right? Because if you can't disguise it and I feel it, yeah, I'm going over your head because I ain't living with that. But I'm still going to go back to what I said about I'm not going to lose sight of what I do either. You just make sure that I don't see it, that I don't see it, that I don't hear it, that I don't feel it, and that I don't experience it. Let me give you them 4 words again. If it's in the air, fine. Just make sure that I don't see it, I don't hear it, I don't feel it, and I don't experience it. And then you go on with your bad self. I got a job to do. But if I see it, if I hear it, if I feel it, if I experience, we got a problem. Enough said. Let's go. Number 15. The politics. Woo! See, I told you, man, my list is 150 strong. I consolidated it to 90, but I'm only at 15. The politics at the building level can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. I'm only going to 12:30 though, y'all. We'll pick it up. I got so much, man. I'm only going to 12:30. Hit that share button, hit that retweet for me. The politics at the building level can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. I wrote these 5 self-reflective questions to address them. Let me give them to you. Those of you taking notes, I'm telling you that so I'm telling you ahead of time so you can start writing or typing. What are the politics of my building? That's the first question. Like what are they? Because it's one thing to talk about the politics, right? So the politics. But I'm saying here, okay, what are they? What are the politics? Secondly, do I understand the politics of my building? And not as a third, but just as to accompany that question, do I understand who the players are? Right? So do I understand the politics of my building, but do I understand who the players are? Number 3, how are the politics of my building impacting my leadership? Again, how are the politics of my building impacting my leadership? Number 4, how have I approached the politics of my building? And number 5, who have I communicated with outside of my school, probably outside of the district, who can assist me with navigating the politics? Now, because it's one thing when we talk about who can I go to, but see, going outside of the school might still be like being inside of the school because the schools are connected, as you know, right? So it may not be ideal for you to go to the colleague in the other school to talk about the politics of your school, because the colleague in the other school might be connected to the politics in your school. So that might not be your answer. Your answer might be to go way outside of that school district to be able to converse with people about how you navigate the politics. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend to have answers to that, because the politics are endless, right? There's a zillion different scenarios as to what the politics may be. My point is for you to learn the politics, understand the politics, understand the players of the politics, and so forth. Time out for a second. Baruti, answer this for me. The politics, and answer this for me. Just hit that slide up that you know who that is. So I just want you to understand the politics, right? That's Raul, Rudy. All right, so now moving on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm what's that word? I can't even think of it. I'm so caught up into what I'm doing. Multitasking, right? Talking to my son and talking to you. Let me go to number 16. The politics at the district level can be frustrating. All right, you took care of whatever it was. All right. The politics at the district level can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. So as AP, you may not necessarily be impacted by the district level politics in real time right now. But as a principal, you will. So I'm still going to talk to you with the same questions. What are the politics at my district? Do I understand the politics within my district? How are the politics within my district impacting my leadership? How have I approached the politics in my district? And who have I communicated with outside of my district who can assist me with navigating the politics? Now, I'll say this to you. I don't know if Stallings is still on here. Who's my dog? DAWG. But the politics was my biggest challenge as a principal. It was navigating the politics. And again, I'm gonna speak for me now. I'm not imposing me. A lot of what I've spoken about, I'm imposing, but not this. I met the politics head on. I wasn't trying. I want y'all to hear me. I had no intention on navigating the politics. None. Byron Carter, you were there back in them days, so you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I had no intention on navigating the politics because it wasn't consistent with my personality. I said, here come the politics. The politics are coming at me. Let's go. Bam. But that's just me. I don't need you to be me, because being me might not help you. Being me is for me. So I met the politics like this. That's how y'all roll. Let's go. Right? Put on the gloves and lace them up. Right? But I'm not encouraging that. I'm saying to you, you got to learn how to navigate it. Now, I will say to you, if I could disclose me again, I also knew how to play the politics. Because, see, politics is not just those bad things that happen. See, when the bad thing that happened came, I wasn't about navigating. I'm like, yo, let's go. You want to fight? You found an opponent. I'm ready to fight. But there are other I needed money, for example. That's me navigating the politics. I need the superintendent to slip $20,000 in my budget. Right? That's navigating the politics. Like Melissa said, knowing the game. That's all it is. Politics just game, y'all. So I'm not going head on. There's some program I want to institute, some resource I want to buy, some trip I want to take the students on. I'm not going like this on that. I'm going here. So I'm going to know how to navigate that so that although my budget's depleted, I have positioned myself in a way that Soup said, but I like how Kafele rolls. That money will be in your budget. See, that's people skills. That's communication skills. That's conversation. That's not this. That this was this when it needed to be this. And that's usually when I met my wits end. I'm like, I don't want to navigate no more. I'm ready to fight you, and then I'm going to bounce. Now, some of y'all don't know what that word bounce means. I know, because it's regional, and y'all don't know all the slang. That means I'm getting ready to leave anyway. I'm not staying here. So let me get this last fight, and then I'm gone. Right? So, but again, the politics. They don't teach you about the politics in grad school. They don't give you the politics 101 textbook in grad school. And the professor probably ain't talking about it because he dealing with he or she dealing with their own politics at the university. So the politics is the part that you got to figure out. But the beauty is, at least you got a principal, Kafele, that could talk about it in the morning for a hot second. That you're going to have your eyes open, your ears open, and engage what are the politics here. And that's inclusive of your staff. Who's married to who? Who's brother and sister to who? Who's cousin to who? Who's homie to who? Because see, here's how it works. The very teacher that you are trying to terminate might be the spouse of the board president, but they wear a different last name. And now that could have implication for your growth in the district. The very teacher that you put in all these corrective actions concern is the younger sister of the mayor. But your eyes weren't open long enough. Your ears weren't open long, so you didn't know them dynamics. That custodian that you riding that ain't cleaning the school the way you want it and you came hard at is the younger sibling of the assistant superintendent, right? But you didn't know that. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to hold that person accountable, but you might want to watch your tone. You may want to watch the way you go at it, because politics are real. And that custodian, and I'm talking strictly politics now. I'm talking about the stuff that a lot of my colleagues ain't going to talk about, right? I don't mind. I'm 62 in a little while. So you know, when you start getting into them 60s, man, you like, I don't care, right? So listen. That custodian that you riding the wrong way could put you out on the unemployment line because you didn't know who that person was connected to. And see, I said, you know, I just said relatives. Let me tone that down. That lunch aid you've been riding is close friends, right? With the newly appointed board member. All right. Close friends with the newly appointed board member. It's not the certificated staff member. It's not one of the teachers, right? It's not one of the administrators. It's not the counselor we talking about. I'm talking about the lunch aide, who's important, but just not one of the certificated staff, the lunch aide that you've been riding, and maybe justifiably. But the lunch aide, her best friend was just appointed to the board. And you didn't know the politics, man. That's why you got to treat people right. See, I'm not saying I'm not, because I don't want to be misconstrued on here. I'm not saying give the lunch aide a pass. I'm saying know how to treat people. That's what I'm saying. Because you don't know who them folks are. You don't have any idea who them folks are. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I never used this because I never had to. But I've been leader and had folks on the staff that I grew up with as children, right? I never had to look out for them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. But they probably had in their mind, yeah, I'm good. Me and Kafele used to sit up in the house tree in 5th grade in the backyard at his house, right? Now he working for him. I never even told staff this is one of my homies from elementary school. You don't know, them relationships could run deep, y'all. You don't know. So you got to be careful. I'm getting ready to wrap it up. Let me see what number I'm on. Yeah, I finished it. Let me just do number 17. I'm gonna stop it right there, y'all, because I know y'all gotta run, man. It's 12:30. Number 17. This is my last one for today. Seeing injustices towards students, but feeling powerless in addressing them can be frustrating, discouraging, and disappointing. Once again, seeing injustices. So you see a youngster is like we talked about, not treating staff correctly, not treating staff with respect, even when they do wrong, but still maintaining a level of respect. Not that no one's looking, so I'm gonna cuss you out, right? Or no one's looking, so I'm gonna come real unprofessional at you. because you don't know who's going to find that out. Well, sometimes a youngster can be treated unjustly. In fact, I don't have to say sometimes all the time, right? Seeing injustices towards students, but feeling powerless in addressing the injustice can be frustrating. In other words, you in a school, and because of the way you've been relegated to a nothingless role, like you're assistant principal, but it definitely don't look like it. Unless stereotypically being a cafeteria person, a disciplinarian, and a bus duty person, that looks like assistant principalship. But if you've been on this platform long enough, you know that that's not assistant principalship. 127 sessions, you know that's not assistant principalship. So now you feeling, man, I've been listening to Kafele for 127 weeks. I don't feel like what he's talking about. Well, I'm saying to you, you cannot be powerless with that youngster. You can't be. That youngster needs you. But if you number 2 in the building, meaning I'm putting all APs at number 2, we ain't ranking them. So if you got 5 APs in the building, they all number 2. You number 2, and you got no power, you got no authority as it relates to the injustice you see toward this youngster. So I'm saying here, you do have authority. And it's imperative that you use that authority to be an advocate for your students. But I wrote in capital letters in my notes, but it's got to be done with tact. T-A-C-T. It has got to be done with tact, right? So there can't be a student in your school and we just letting injustice go. No, you got to step in there, man. But if you've been stripped of your authority because of the way you're being treated in that building, and how do you advocate? How do you fight for that student? And everything I've said with all 17 of these, you have got to engage in the tough conversations with your leader, with your principal. All 17 of these, including those difficult ones dealing with race, gender, and sexuality. They all have to be addressed. And if you don't have the courage to address them and are willing to endure all that, I feel bad for you. How you going to lead and you don't have courage? How you going to lead and you don't have the audacity to address that which is wrong? You have to. So I'm going to cut it off at number 17. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's so much that I wish I got to. So I said I didn't want to deal in negativity for consecutive first Saturdays, but I got to get this stuff in, man. So next first Saturday, I'm starting at 18, right? Next first Saturday, I'm starting at 18 because I'm going to assume that there are people out there. And here's my point that I'm getting ready to make, Kwame. I'm going to assume that there are people out there that need to hear everything I said for the past 90 minutes. So I can't space this thing out and avoid the negative. I gotta get at least 90 of these in. So I think this is October. So October, November, December, I'm going to stay on this path because there's probably people out there that need to hear this. Yeah, you make a good point, Lakeisha. It probably does need to be televised, even though you said LOL. It probably people out there, and I see what y'all saying. Let me know, folks, like I do with my guests. I don't typically do this with myself, but if the session was worth your while in terms of what was said, and not necessarily agreeing with everything I said, but bringing the point to the fore in terms of each of the numbers, then give me some fire or something, man. Give me some applause. Like, what I look like asking for applause, right? Give me something just so I know that this is something that you would want to hear. Because see, the bottom line with creating this platform is I need to stay relevant, right? I need to stay. Oh, I appreciate all these comments. I need to stay relevant. And if I'm getting up on Saturday being irrelevant, then what's the point, right? Why should I waste time I'm up. I get up at 7. I don't care what time I go to bed. 7 is my latest, right? But why should you come on here if I'm not relevant? So I listen to what people have to say. Some of y'all write me, and that inspires things that I say as well. Some of you suggest certain guests, and I got them on my list. I listen to the folks that are on here, so I appreciate all. I see everything that you're putting in the thread from all 5 platforms. And just to be reminded, some of you don't know, I'm on LinkedIn as well at Principal Kafele. As a matter of fact, I got back on Instagram last night as Principal Kafele, but my username is Million Mile Man. Some of you know I use that as a hashtag on Facebook and Twitter. For those of you that don't know what that means, that's because I passed 1 million miles flying earlier this year. I've flown over 1 million miles in 10 years, which is incredible. 1 million miles in 10 years. So that's like my hashtag, Million Mile Man. So that's what the name I'm using on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. And maybe one day I'll set up the iPad and go live on Instagram as well as the other 5. So that's that. Hey, y'all, next week we back to my guest. We were supposed to do Leading While Black last week, but I couldn't get in touch with one of the persons that was supposed to be on, so I canceled it, and I went solo, I think, or I don't know, I did something, but I didn't do that. But next week I'm gonna reach out to the guests for Leading While Black today, and hopefully they get my email, and we'll be in that book, Fighting the Good Fight, which is the book I use for the Leading While Black series. That's second Saturdays of every month. Authors, it's called Narratives of the African American Principleship. You can get this on Amazon, by the way. And Isaac Carrier and Aaron Griffin, doctors, both of them, they are the editors of this book. And I bring various different guests that wrote this book onto the platform. So hopefully I'll be able to get in touch with them, and we'll see them next. We'll see 3 of them next week. Make sure you check out Sean Hurd every Saturday at 10, Dr. Sheikah Houston and Tammy Taylor at 10:30 with Create and Educate. Rise Gaskins and Coach Williams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and skip one. Unlock the Middle with Josh Tovar and Dean Packard every Sunday night at 7. Turn that football volume down and check them out. I was their guest last Sunday. We had a great time too, man. They asked me the questions that people don't typically ask me. And if you didn't see it, just go to my page, and you can just scroll down. You'll see it. You'll see last Sunday night. Make sure you get your hands on the Assistant Principal 50 and the Aspiring Principal 50. Make sure that you visit principalkafele.com for all the latest news and all the resources that I have on the site, the podcast, the videos, the blogs, everything. It's all there. Just check it out. And then subscribe to the Virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. Hit that little red button. And by the way, like this video today. On whatever platform you're on, they say, Kafele, man, you need to tell the people to like it. Okay, like it, right? Like the video on LinkedIn, like it on YouTube, like it on Facebook, like it on Twitter, like it on all of them, right? And then subscribe to the Virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page, man. You got to subscribe to that, because I write the commentary, man. I'll be writing like number 82 tomorrow, something like that. I'll be at ASCD this year, Shannon White. Maybe I will infuse some of this. That's a good idea, because I already submitted my topic, but I might submit a second topic, and it might be this. And I might submit it to some other conferences too. You just put that thought in my head, because I wasn't even thinking about it like that. Appreciate that, Shannon White. Let me see. Like and follow the Virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page once again, as I said. And then finally, before I get to finally, let me just say again, thoughts and prayers to all the folks in the path of Hurricane Ian. I'm almost confident that there are people that are on here typically who are not here because of that. Yeah, I'll be in here. Yeah, so thoughts and prayers to them, right? Yeah. Hey, folks, someone just reminded me I'll be in Houston soon, and I'll be there October 12th. If you didn't sign up, go to my page and scroll down to see the flyer, and come join me in Houston. We're talking leadership all day long, Region 4 in Houston. All right, folks, your diet, take care of it. Your exercise, take care of it. COVID-19 precautions, take care of it. Monkeypox precautions, take care of it. Whatever precautions. I'm going to say this to you, and then I'm going to sign off. I took another booster, y'all. I got 3 of them bloody boosters in me. I got 2 shots and 3 boosters. Somebody might say, you crazy. I know. But see, I'm on all them airplanes, y'all. I can't be playing with this, right? So I took the 3rd booster, and I asked at the pharmacy. I said, how much time does the booster last for? They said that last booster you took lasted for probably 2 months. 2 months? That's it? 2 months? So I got booster number 3 in me, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not trying to impose. Oh, and I took the flu shot. I took the booster and the flu shot on the same day. And I didn't have usually it's like a day where I can't do nothing. But my wife said, take Tylenol before the pain comes. See, that's the queen. So I took the Tylenol before the pain, and guess what? I didn't have any pain. I wasn't out of it. Because see, those other 4 shots, I was out of it. Like go to bed and forget about it. Ain't nothing happening. That didn't happen with this next booster. I don't know if I'm getting immune to the booster or the Tylenol, because I never took the Tylenol first. So that's me. I'm not imposing it on you. You do you, whatever's best for you. But if anybody needed to hear that somebody took a 3rd booster, you're hearing it from yours truly. I took the 3rd. Right? Enough said, y'all. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Hope you got something out of today. I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see you next Saturday at 10:55. Tell somebody that doesn't know about this broadcast that they need to get with it. Tell them to come on with us, and we'll be here strong next week, leading while black. Even if you're not black, those conversations are relevant. If you are white, if you are Latino, if you are Asian, if you are Native American, the Leading While Black series is still relevant. Don't say, oh, I'm going to take the day off. He ain't talking to me. Oh, yes, I am. If someone had a recording called Leading While White, I'll be the first one on it because I want to hear what they got to say about Leading While White. If someone wrote Leading While Latino, I'll be the first one to sign up for it because I want to know what they're saying. If they say Leading While Native American, I'm going to be there, right? Because I want to hear, because it still got implications for me. So you just be there. Enough said. I'm getting ready to eat breakfast. The queen has just come downstairs. I'm getting ready to eat.